Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to climb this incredible staircase of the human mind, and our guide is the legendary Jean Piaget and his revolutionary theory of cognitive development.
So Piaget's whole idea, right, was that kids aren't just tiny, incomplete adults. No, he saw them as active, curious explorers, little scientists who are constantly building their own understanding of the world around them, one fascinating discovery at a time.
Okay, so Piaget said we build our world using these two key tools. First, you've got assimilation. That's when we try to fit new things into what we already know. Like a toddler seeing a zebra for the first time and calling it a stripy horse. Makes sense, right? But then there's accommodation. That's when we have to actually change our thinking to fit new information, realizing, oh, a zebra isn't just a horse with stripes, it's a whole new animal.
All right, so here's our game plan for today's climb. We'll start with the staircase model itself. Then we'll hit all four of Piaget's major stages, one by one. And finally, we'll take a look at his lasting impact.
Okay, so first up, the staircase model itself. Piaget's big idea here was that development is like a one-way staircase. We all go through these four distinct stages in the exact same order. And here's the kicker. You can't skip a step.
And this just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? It shows our journey from figuring out the world with our hands and mouths all the way up to thinking about really complex, abstract stuff like justice or infinity. It's a heck of a climb.
All right, let's take our first step onto that staircase, the sensorimotor stage. This is from birth to about 2 years old, and during this time, babies are learning about the world entirely through what they can sense and what they can do. It's all about touching, seeing, grabbing, and yep, you guessed it, putting everything in their mouths.
So the big ticket item here, the major milestone, is something called object permanence. This is a game changer. It's that amazing moment when a baby realizes that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's gone for good.
So, before this clicks, if you hide a toy from a little baby, for them, it's just gone, vanished into thin air. It's not hiding. In their reality, it literally ceases to exist. Poof.
But then, right around 8 months old, something clicks. You can almost see the gears turning. That little scientist now has a mental picture of the toy, and they'll actually start looking for it. They finally get it. It's still there. It's just under the blanket.
Okay, moving on up. Next stop is the preoperational stage. This is from about age 2 to 7, and this is when language and imagination just completely explode. A cardboard box stops being just a box. Suddenly it's a rocket ship to the moon. But there's a big catch at this stage. It's called egocentrism, and it basically means they literally can't see the world from anyone else's point of view. It's not that they're selfish, it's just that their perspective is the only one that exists in their universe.
And Piaget had this brilliant way of showing it with his famous 3 mountains task. A child in this stage will look at a model of mountains and tell you with total confidence that a doll sitting on the other side of the table sees the exact same view they do.
And a big reason for this is something called centration. It's like they have mental tunnel vision. They get locked onto one single obvious feature, like how tall a glass is, and they completely ignore everything else, like how wide it is.
All right, we're climbing higher now, up to the concrete operational stage. At this point, logical thought finally arrives. But, and this is a big but, it only really works for real, physical, concrete things they can actually see or touch.
And the huge unlock at this stage is mastering conservation. This is the light bulb moment when kids understand that quantity doesn't change just because you change the shape. Pouring juice from a short, fat glass into a tall, skinny one doesn't mean there's suddenly more juice.
And this slide with the clay task just shows the difference so perfectly. A preoperational kid gets stuck on that one feature. Look, it's longer now, and thinks the hot dog has more clay. But the older, concrete operational kid, they can decenter. They see that it's longer but also thinner, and they can use reversibility, thinking, well, I can squish it back into a ball, so it must be the same amount. It's pure logic in action.
And here we are. We've made it to the top of the staircase, the formal operational stage. This kicks in around age 11, and now our thinking can finally go abstract and hypothetical. We can think about what-ifs and explore ideas that don't even exist in the real world.
Okay, so this stage is all about something called hypothetico-deductive reasoning. I know, it's a mouthful, but it just means you can think like a scientist. You can come up with a hypothesis, you can figure out how to test it systematically, and you can draw a logical conclusion.
You know, a really fun way to see this huge leap in thinking is with a simple question Piaget used to ask, the third eye problem.
So a younger kid, a concrete thinker, gives you a pretty straightforward answer. On my forehead. Makes sense, right? It's logical. But the formal thinker, whoa, their mind just explodes with possibilities. They're not stuck in reality anymore. They'll say something creative and hypothetical like, I'd put it on my hands so I could see around corners.
So we've climbed all the way from a baby grabbing a rattle to a teenager thinking about abstract concepts. It's been quite a journey. But what's Piaget's lasting impact today? Where does his theory stand?
Look, Piaget's theory isn't perfect, right? People have pointed out that he often used small sample sizes, that he might have actually underestimated what kids can do, and that development might be more of a gradual slope than a rigid staircase. But here's the thing. Even with those criticisms, his work is still the absolute foundation of how we understand the developing mind.
So this whole journey up the staircase shows us this incredible blueprint for how we all learn to think. It's pretty amazing to look back on. But it also makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it? How is your own thinking still changing, still evolving, even right now?